Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to a weekly CO2 review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 38th Commitments of Traders Report of 2025. And as we always do, we shall start out by looking at the largest changes in commercials net positions. But before we jump to the review, just want to remind you, if you are new to COT analysis here at COTBase.com, you'll find a lot of educational material, not only in written format, but we have some very useful videos as well that can guide you through the analysis process. Also, if you'd like to take advantage of consultations, I do offer consultations one-on-one, mentorship to really help you understand how to benefit from this wonderful data. Back to the review, let's get started. Euro British Pound is on top of our list with a huge 42% change in commercials net positions. We are of course analyzing the classic COT report, futures and options data combined. We've got commercials, large speculators, and non-reportables, who we like to call small speculators. CFTC calls them non-reportables as they do not report to CFTC. 42% change, huge, right? 73 in large speculators. Wow. It's not something we see regularly. However, I should point out, this is the Euro British Pound futures contract, not something that I would be too interested in analyzing the report. I think it's important, but because the Euro and the British Pound currency futures are larger, they're separate contracts, the data is more important, more valuable. So if you are trading the Euro British Pound, I would strongly suggest analyzing these currencies separately and then come to a conclusion before jumping to any conclusion simply based on the Euro British Pound. So nevertheless, let's talk about it. So it's a bearish chain signal coming after the market has been rallying. So that's nice to see. It's much greater than average. So whenever we have a great change, that's something we should consider. Moving to a 5-year chart, we can see that with this move, we got closer to bearish stress levels in the market. You can see some examples on this 5-year chart for that. This would be a bullish COT Extreme right over there. So again, I would look at it and say interesting and definitely something to consider, but I would analyze the Euro British Pound separately. Now, good news, we are going to talk about the British Pound soon, but before we move over, I just want to remind you, if you haven't yet checked it out, but we actually offer some quite unique indicators. The Pro offering everything you see on the website in NinjaTrader, so you can analyze the data within your own platform, or this new tool that's called the iCOT Intraday Indicator, and it brings COT analysis down into the very, very short time frames. I'm just going to give you a very quick example. This is actually the Euro British Pound on a 2-minute candlestick chart, okay? And you can see how well the indicator performs on such a very, very low time frame. So we have these lines. We can call them commercials and large speculators. However, the data itself is not from CFTC. We used a lot of deep science that's behind it to come up with scores for each and every individual candlestick. So it's quite a unique indicator, but it does what you are used to when it comes to classic COT analysis with stress level analysis, right? Moving on to the British Pound, as I said, that's going to be the next market. 24% change over here. Again, greater than average chain size, bringing commercials net short. And actually even large speculators seem to be net short. Only small speculators are taking the long side of the market. So this in itself, to me, is actually more of a bearish sign. The signal itself is bearish, suggesting weakness in the next couple of days. And if we move on to a 5-year chart, we have a chance to examine stress levels. Now, this is showing a little bit different picture because not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, we had a bullish extreme, okay? Same over here, and another example from early this year. We are very close to those levels, so nothing in the bearish zone over here, something like this, or even this would be considered a bearish extreme. So definitely something that I would consider if you are trading the British Pound. That stress level analysis points upwards. It suggests that the rally can easily continue. The next market is going to be the dollar index, 22% change over here. Let's go back to the 1 year chart. and you can see a much greater than average change size. This, of course, suggests further strengthening in the dollar in the next few days. Of course, don't forget the data itself. The report date is here, and then this is when we actually get to see the data. So there's a bit of a lag with respect to CFTC publishing the data. Moving to a 5-year chart, you can see that there's a significant bullish extreme in this market, suggesting that we may actually see a bottom happening in the dollar index in the medium to long term. Next couple of weeks, month maybe, we'll see. But definitely something that you should take into consideration. Moving on to large speculator COT Extreme analysis, we've got the metals complex. That's something unique for our subscribers. We basically combine the sector markets COT data into one huge combined COT data. So lean hogs is going to be the next market I'm going to talk about, where we have an all-time COT extreme, not only in large speculators, but also in commercials. And if we open the entire history of COT data, which as you can see dates back, in case of futures and options data, mind you, until 1996. So you can see how lean hogs reacted to these great bearish COT extremes in the past. So we can conclude that the COT extreme analysis seems to be working well in this market. Now, I'm not saying this is going to suddenly, fall back down. These all-time COT extremes can be present in the market for many weeks before there's any reaction from the market. But it's good to know. It's good to know. Stress levels have built up. Dollar index, Euro British pound, we talked about. Let's move on to the Mexican peso and then the Japanese yen. So this week it seems we've got a bunch of currencies to talk about. Here we have a 65 report extreme in large speculators. What you should do when you analyze the data like I'm doing right now is you take this horizontal line, you put it at the the end. In this case, we're looking at commercials and of course large speculators, and you can kind of see how this current reading stands historically, at least on a 5 years time horizon. So the last extreme that we were able to talk about is this bullish COT extreme that is taking its effect and it's pushing the Mexican peso higher. We have moved away from those levels. Are we at a bearish extreme to expect the Mexican peso to fall back down? Well, we did see that bullish extreme in the dollar index, so that's something to keep in mind. And then we are getting closer to higher bearish extreme territories. Last but not least, let's talk about the Japanese yen. Here we have a 29 report extreme. So basically about little over 6 months ago, we had this reading in large speculators net position. We are coming off of a bearish COT extreme in the Japanese yen. You can see it did come down. And as it did, we, of course, witnessed the stress level in traders' net position to decrease, which, of course, is not surprising. So we'll see how this continues, but there's no extreme signal to talk about today. Of course, this is only a brief review. If you are interested in a more in-depth analysis, then you might want to consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and maybe becoming a member at COTBase. To really take advantage of all the tools that we have to offer. We do go into details when it comes to the report. So we talked about the British pound, for instance. You can actually choose the British pound and find a bunch of data. Everything that there is can be found here at COTBase.com. So a very significant system to analyze the commitments of traders' reports. We have indicators. We have the premium subscription. So a lot of things to do here. I really hope that you'll give us a chance to show you what we are capable of. If you have any questions, feel free to comment underneath the video or send us an email to info@cotbase.com. Thank you for your attention. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next time.